Good morning students. Today we will study about the history of standard 7 chapter number 6 and lecture number 2. As we have seen many things in the previous lecture, that the significant places where the towns grew, and we have also seen the urbanization, the urban picture of the during the medieval period. So in this lecture we will see the economy during the medieval period. So economy, as we know that the economic of India was very successful from the earlier time, and in this lecture we will see the monetary system and the importance of the coins. Monetary system means the medium of exchange, that today we are using the coins or rupees to exchange the things, to buy the things, to sell the things. So at that time in medieval period they were also using the regular monetary system. So before starting the monetary system during the medieval period, somehow we will try to connect it with the earlier stage. So we can say that as we have seen the Indus Valley civilization, that was the urban civilization for India. So at that time people were also using to exchange the things, but there were not any monetary system. So people used to exchange the things. That means people were using the barter system. As I have told you, and you also know in the previous classes that you have studied about the barter system, to exchange the thing. If someone needs grains and other one needs any other goods, so because there is not any medium to exchange, they just exchange the things and fulfill their needs. After the Indus Valley civilization, then when metal was invented, then they in 6th century BC, it was the initial stage of coinage. So during the Mahajanpadas, they introduced the coins of copper, silver, gold, and they called it the Karshapans or the panas. Then during the Mauryan Empire around the 300 BC, they used the punch marked coins. During the Gupta Empire, before it, the Indo-Greek ruler came into exist in the India. So the Indo-Greek rulers introduced the large number of pure gold coins, and the Kanishka, the rulers during in the Indo-Greek ruler, Kanishka was the Indo-Greek ruler. He introduced the coins, large number of pure gold coins, and as a custom they used to portrait in the coins. That means they portrait on the coins. During the Gupta Empire, they struck the large number of gold coins, and somehow they used to engrave the ruler's name, the title of the ruler, the picture of the deity. They engrave on the coins. Now we will see that the monetary system during the Sultanate. So there were many rajas who struck the coins in many ways, but they were different from each ruler. That means every ruler introduced the different coins. But during the Sultanate, they struck the coins in a regular system. So after the arrival of Delhi Sultanate, they replaced the royal design of Indian coins with the calligraphic inscription of Islam. So they now struck the coins in calligraphic way, and they used the sentence from the holy textbook and replaced the images and figure of the deity or the rulers. So during the Sultanate, they used to make the coins in copper, gold and silver. The gold and silver coins known as the tanka, and the lower value coins, that means the coins of the copper, known as jitals. So in Sultanate they try to minted the coins in a standardized way. In Sultanate, most of the rulers took interest in the coinage. Like we will talk about the Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He took the personal interest in the coinage. However, his all experiments were a failure and a big misery. But as he introduced the at first he introduced the large number of gold coins. That's why after struck the large number of gold coins, it became scarce. And then after he introduced the token currency. Token currency were made of copper and brass, and this experiment was also failed just because at that time, during the period of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, most of the Hindu families were goldsmiths. So they knew how to mint the coin. So as like that, they minted the coins in copper and brass, because copper and brass is very common metal and available in every houses. So now the every houses became a mint. That's why the value of coins became decreased, and the coins became as worthless as stones. And you also know the Sultanate ruler Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Khilji also introduced the coins with the title Sikandar Ustani, that means the second elect gender. But during the Mughal period, they consolidated the monetary system, and they introduced the coins in copper, gold and silver. And Sher Shah Suri, when he defeated the Humayun, he introduced the coins and named that coins as rupiah. So after the Lodi dynasty, from Lodi dynasty onwards, many sultans like sultans of Bengal, Bahmanis, and from Lodi dynasty onwards, the sultans of Bengal, Malwa, Gujarat, Jaunpur, and the Bahmani sultans introduced the superior design of coins than once made during the Sultanate, during the Khilji dynasty. And one thing that Muhammad bin Tughlaq also influenced by the paper currency of Chinese, so he also introduced the paper currency, and somehow for some time it helped to develop in the trade and commerce. So as we know, as the Vijayanagara Empire was the contemporary of the Sultanate, so the empire of the Vijayanagara founded around 1336 and founded by Harihar and Bukka. So they also introduced the coins in a new design, in a superior designs, and their coins influenced the 19th century coins, and somehow the foreign traders like the European and English traders also influenced by the coins of the Vijayanagara. So they used to minted the coins in copper and gold. They minted the coins in the copper and gold. To increase the trading, they made the coins in a superior design, in a expensive design, and they impressed the foreign traders from their coins also. During the Vijayanagara Empire, the overseas trading was done in a large scale, and they used to engrave on coins, they used to engrave the deity, the image and figure of the deity, that means the image of the god and goddesses like Venkateshwara, and other side the royal family like the Raja, the rulers. So now we will see the trade and commerce. as we know that from very earlier time the trade and commerce of India was very successful and it continued to grow during the medieval period. So we will see that there were many reasons for development of the trade. During the medieval period they provided much of the efforts to develop the trade. That's why the trade and commerce during the medieval period grew a lot. So we can say that the trade and commerce, the traders were the most, for the rulers the trade and commerce is the income of source for them. So that's why they also provided some of the security to the traders for development of the trades. And development of trade also developed the towns and converted it into the traders trading and commercial centers. So we will see that reasons behind the development of the trade and commerce which were provided by the rulers during the medieval period. So as we know that the long period of stability of Sultanate is also the reason for the development of trade and commerce, and the consolidated monetary system also provided to the traders. That's why the trade and commerce also flourished. Because this is the most income of source for the rulers, so they provided the secure environment to the traders. That's why the trade and commerce grew rapidly. There were some places, commercial places like Delhi, Lahore, Ahmedabad and Jaunpur, which were the commercial centers at that time, that means during the medieval period. And there were some other places along with the coast like Bombay, Calicut, Madras, Cochin, Masulipatam and Hooghly were the major port at that time. So as like that rulers also provided the security to the traders, and that's why the trading during that time, trade and commerce grew a lot, and that's why the foreign trade grew a lot, and as well as at the same time the local trade also grew, and the demand of the Indian crafts and goods were increased. As we know that India has always been a major exports of spices and textile. So many spices exports in many other countries like the ginger, cinnamon, cardamom, turmeric, peppercorns and cloves were in popular demand in Middle East and Rome. Most of the ships from other country came to the Malabar coast and trading in spices. Incense herbs and textiles were important exports. India produced some of the best qualities of silk and cotton fabric because they used to dye the clothes with the natural colors. So we are highly demanded in the royal family of the foreign country. Bengal was famous for the tussar and silk, as like the Golconda was also famous for the kalamkari work, and they were highly demanded in the foreign country. Dhaka was also popular for the muslin. Carpet weaving became a highly specialized skill during the medieval period. It gained a popularity during the medieval period. Inlay work on the furniture were famous in Gujarat and Sindh. Inlay work, that means the बहुत ही महीन काम, that is बहुत बारीक काम फर्नीचर पर किया जाता था, and that were done in the Gujarat and Sindh. So they were also highly demanded in the foreign country. Jewelry designs with the stonework, ivory, pearls and the tortoise seals in the southern India, as well as they also involved in the fishing. Golconda were the important source of diamonds and precious stones. Major exports, including some of the other goods that were important exports like the indigo, sugar, coconut, ivory, sandalwood, oils, diamonds and other precious stones in the foreign country. As like that, India is also imported some of the goods like some of the luxurious goods like horses from Arabia and Kabul, and dry fruits, precious stones, glassware from Europe, satin textiles from Asia, rose silk and porcelain from China, wines, corals, perfumes, velvet and scented oils were also imported to India. So metals like the gold, bronze and iron, wax and wool were also imported. So as we can say that India exported the very in a large goods in a large number, like the spices, textiles and some precious stones, as well as they also imported the goods from the other country. It indicates the healthy relationship with the other country and increase the trade. So watch this video and it will help you in your study. So thank you.